just up. I'm just going to move this out of my way because you know I can just okay. So I apologize again. I feel like we're kind of losing momentum. It's terrible. It's terrible that I only get to see you once a week for Latin, but to meet and then not meet and then meet today and then not meet next week. It's just driving me crazy. However, we're gonna take some time to go over some of the material from chapter 16. Were you able to correct what you did? But over break, last week I sent you a test, but it wasn't really a test. It was more worksheet, and then the week before I gave you this. Is there anything in this lesson in the workbook that you missed and you don't know why? That was a problem? You want me to go over it, or is it just a matter of memorizing? Okay. And do you need help? Okay. Well, we're gonna do chapter 17 this week. The good news is, chapter 17 has an idea that is simple, and it doesn't involve learning any endings. We like that, right? But on the flip side, there's more words. Okay. So what I have given you is a huge packet because it's for 2 weeks. And it's the chapter 17 workbook, and then it's the chapter 17 test thing, and then I've got conjugating and declining practice that I'm going to tell you what to work on. Okay, so I've hopefully armed you with everything you're going to need. That said, while we are not meeting next week again, you can call me anytime. You can just pick up the phone, leave a message on my answering machine. Your parents email me, set up a time if you're more comfortable and you feel like you're bothering me or something, although you're not. Can I call you at 10 a.m. on, yes, you can. I will sit down and as much as we can, online, or over the phone, I will go over things with you. Or, I've got Skype on my computer. I've got a Facebook account. We can Facebook chat, and I can pull my whiteboard out and show you things. I'm willing to do that. Okay. Do not be stuck on something that you translate it and you check it and you keep being wrong and you don't know why it's wrong. Don't just let that go. Ask me. Okay. I'm not going anywhere next week. So keep that in mind. So what I want to do is, first of all, get you all set. I want to show you the new stuff and get you all set and tell you what to conjugate and decline. And then we'll spend the rest of the time going back and doing some sentences from our previous chapter, okay? And in chapter 17, we find out that there are some adjectives and some verbs that use the dative case instead of the accusative case. First of all, let's start out by putting all of our noun endings up here. First declension. I. Okay, I'm doing the wrong pronunciation. Sorry about this. I, arum, is, as, is. Second. Us, o, e, orum, is, as, is. Second. Neuter. E, o, o. Orum, is, is. Third. X, is, e, m, a, s, ibus, s, ibus. Do you want me to put the third neuter and the crazy mare? We'll put those up if we need them, okay? All right. So as you know, usually when we have a direct object in Latin, we have the accusative case, right? The girl loves the boy. We know that the girl is doing it because she's nominative. And we know that it's the boy who's being loved because he's accusative. But if you look at your vocabulary list for chapter 17, this is on page 117 for me. You will see, look at the verbs. There's a couple of them that are normal, but a bunch of them have this parentheses plus dative. You see that? What they are telling you is that all of those verbs use the dative rather than the accusative. And it's actually going to be much easier than it seems. Flip the page and go to where it says section 44, special intransitive. Do we see that? Section 44, special intransitive. Okay. In chapter 5, you learned the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs take a direct object. Intransitive verbs don't. Let's think of an example. The dog bit Preston. That did not happen. Preston is the direct object, right? Something happened to someone. The dog runs. Is the dog doing that to anyone? It's not doing that to anyone. Do you see how some verbs don't really have a direct object? It can. The dog ran a race. Do they have races for dogs? I think they do. And then a race would be a direct object, but it doesn't have to have one. There's two kinds of verbs here. And so they give you the example. The queen accuses the girl. The queen's doing something. And it's happening to someone, the poor girl. Then we have some intransitive. The sailors sail. Helen is a queen. We learn in school. As you can see, you have already learned several different types of intransitive sentences that use intransitive verbs. Now let us add another to our repertoire. The special intransitive is a verb that takes a direct dative object. These verbs do not take a direct object in the accusative case. Okay, now look at the first one. We're gonna focus in, because I think if we take a little time, it's gonna help. Puella matri plaquette? Yes. Okay, now placcio is one of these new verbs. And if you look at your list, it says to please or be pleasing to. The girl, everybody look up here at the Latin for me. Look up here. The girl pleases the mother. Mother is dative. The girl pleases the mother. Like, wait a minute. Why is it not matrim? Why is it not a direct object? Because what we really mean is the girl is pleasing to the mother. The pleasingness goes to the mother. Now, remember that dative, we usually translate it with a to or a for, right? He gave a gift to his mother. He gave his mother a gift. Mother got the gift, right? He made dinner for his family. Who got the dinner? His family. The to or for. Listen to this verb. Be pleasing to. Do you hear the to? It's built into the verb. So it takes dative. Go back to the vocabulary with me now. And let's look at these weird ones. Favio, favere, favi, fautum. Favor or support. Listen to it this way. Give favor to. Give support to. Do you hear how the idea built into the verb is that someone's getting your support? It's support you're giving. The person who gets it is the indirect object. Some of the other ones, actually all of the other ones, have a to in their definition. Nocio, nocere, nocui, nocitum. Love it. It's a regular second conjugation verb. Harm or be harmful to. Harm is what's being given. Who gets the harm? It's like an indirect object. Pario, parere, pariui, paritum. Obey or be obedient to. Obedience is what's being given. The person who gets the obedience is an indirect object. Okay. Placio, placere, placui, placitum. We just met this one. Please or be pleasing to. And then look at the very last one. Studio, studere, studui. It only has 3 parts. Study or direct one's zeal to. Remember how studium means eagerness, but it can also mean study? Because hopefully when we study, we do it with eagerness, right? That's the best way to learn. And so studio means direct your study to, direct your eagerness to. So all of those verbs that we just listed, whenever we use them in a sentence, they have what appears to be a dative direct object. Or you can translate them with the word to. Let's look at another example that they give us in the book. Deo paribimus. All right, let's see if we can work this out. Pario is a new word, and we just learned it means obey. So if pario means obey, what does paribimus mean? You're really close. Mus. We will obey. We will obey. What is this word and what does it mean? God. Yes. And it appears to be dative. Well, dative or ablative, but. So how could we translate this sentence? We will obey. We will obey God. Now, this is why you're doing it that way with that face, because, well, why? It's not deum. We want it to be deum. We will obey God. But you see, remember, God, we're not doing something to God. We're doing it for God. So it helps, and this is why it says pario means obey or be obedient to. We will be obedient to God. When we say it that way, it's like, oh, yes, of course, dative, to God, for God. So that's why they've given you those translations. They have a lot of words, like be obedient to. Takes a lot longer to write out than obey, right? Be pleasing to is longer than please. But see, there's nothing new to memorize, and it's not hard, but it's just an idea to wrap your head around. Can you see the reason behind it? I mean, you could just memorize those verbs and say, these are the verbs that take the dative. Done. But it's easier, I think, to understand why it's happening. Be obedient to. Be pleasing to. be harmful to. And in fact, if you memorize what these verbs mean by learning the one that has the to in it, it will help you remember that it uses that. In fact, fawio, I would even write in there, be favorable to, or be supportive to. And that shows you why. Does this, just be honest, does it make sense at all? Okay. All right. And I will not beat it into the ground if it makes sense. So in section 45, it says dative with adjectives. In addition to this special group of verbs, there is also a special group of adjectives that often appear with the dative case. Now, these adjectives do not have to use a dative, but often they do in order to communicate quality, relation, or even an attitude. Notice that you can still translate the dative using the familiar to or for, and that this translation fits comfortably with our own English style of speaking. Okay, this will make a whole lot more sense when we look at a couple of examples. And when we do, you'll hear it right away. Let's look at the first sentence here. Pueri, puellas, sunt amici. Okay. What's our verb? I mean, this is easy. I mean, it's translated for you in the book, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. What is our verb? Sunt, which means what?
They are.
They are. And what seems to be the they? What's nominative and plural?
The boys.
Mm-hmm. 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 The boys are friends. The boys are friends. Now, do you remember that amicus can be friend, like a noun, a thing, but it can also be an adjective, friendly. It actually works both ways in this sentence. But since they used friendly, we'll use friendly. The boys are friendly to the girls. Do you see how when I use the word friendly, automatically, I mean, like I said, I don't have to. I can just say the girls are friendly or the boys are friendly. It's a complete sentence, like it's a complete idea. But if I want to say in relation to who are they friendly, I end up using the word to. That dog is friendly to his masters, you know. The weather is friendly to people who want to be outside today. I automatically do it. And remember, to or for is a dative idea. So that's why. So amicus, when it's meaning friendly, often means has that idea of dative. Let's look at the next one. It's easier when I write them up here. Bellum. Oh, I guess these are new adjectives, so I'm going to tell you some of them. Bellum aptum non est liberis. All right, we get the same problem. What is our verb? Est. And what's it mean? Is. And what does non est mean? It is not. What is something that's nominative that could be the it? The he, she, or it.
Vellum.
Vellum. War is not. Now, this one I have to tell you. Aptus. Have you already learned Aptus? It's not on your list for today. I didn't bring my master list of everything you've learned. Because I'm going to be irritated if they gave you another word. There's a list in the back somewhere, right? You guys know where this is. A list by. We're going to have to assume that they gave it to us previously. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, here I found the list. Aptus was in chapter 15. In the off chance that you don't remember, it means suitable. Ready, fit, or suitable. War is not suitable for children. You see, I could just say war is not suitable. This is a complete sentence. But if I want to say in relation to whom it's not suitable, I end up using the dative. War is not suitable for children. Look at the last one. I'm not going to write it down. This is the one that starts with Saxum. The rock has, formum, a shape, similum, similar to a turtle. Similar to. Do you hear that I say the word to every time I say similar? So look at your adjectives in your vocabulary list. Friendly to. Chorus. Dear to. Dissimilus and similus. Like or similar to. Unlike or dissimilar to. Fidelis. Faithful or loyal to. Inimicus. Unfriendly to. And parparis. Equal to. Do you hear the to comes naturally? 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. I can't even express it without saying 2 or 4. So these adjectives automatically, when you're comparing it to someone or something else, it will fall into the dative case. It doesn't automatically take the dative. All right? And section 46 gives us one more thing. Dative of possession. The linking verb sum esse also appears quite often with the dative case in another construction. Do you see 46? Do you see where I am? Okay. In another construction called the dative of possession. The dative of possession uses the dative case plus a form of esse, the be verb, in order to communicate ownership. In this construction, translate the verb esse not as to be, but as to belong to. All right, let's look at the first one. Consuli est officium. The office, I'm going to be very literal, okay? The office is for the consul. The duty is for the consul. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's his duty. It belongs to him. And so do you see how they switched it up? The consul has the office. I don't like that they did that. If we were good at Latin, that would be fine. But you guys are still learning how the parts fit together. And I would prefer it if you would translate it, the office belongs to or is for the consul, so that you know what things are doing. Look at the next one. The books libri were errant for the students. The books were for the students. The idea is they're their books. These belong to them. It is okay for you to just flat out say, the books were for the students. You have to get fancy, all right? Even if their translation in the key gets all fancy. If you have communicated that those books were for those students and belong to them in some way, you're right. Your answer is right. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. That's the whole lesson. That's chapter 17. Dative cases where you don't expect dative cases to turn up, but dative cases where they make total sense. The girl is obedient to her parents. It makes sense that the parents are in dative. The dog is friendly to my neighbor. I hear the two. It's dative. Or the water bottle is for Mrs. Ferguson. It's her water bottle. Right? Do the exercises. We have words to learn. Let's go back and look at the rest of those words. Here, I need to move this. I keep seeing it buried under my sweater, and I'm not sure how much is actually recording. Let's look at the nouns. Honor, honoris. It means honor. This is easy. It is masculine. Officium means office or duty. And tempus temporis means time. Like the tempo of music. It's the speed, the time in which the music comes. Temporal means something that only lasts for a short time. All right, verbs. We've looked at all the verbs except two of them. Administro, administrari, administravi, administratum, manage. Manage. Like the administration. It manages the government. And the last one, or the second one we didn't already look at, sto, stari, stati, statum. This should ring mega bells, all right? It's first conjugation because it's got an A-R-E, but it's weird. It's really weird. It should not have stati. What is stati? It's completely irregular. Sto, stari, stati, statum. And it means stand. We already looked at our adjectives. And we have two adverbs, bene, which means well, and iterum means again. You know, we say, will you reiterate? I mean, will you say it again? If someone reiterates, they're like I'm doing right now, they're repeating themselves. All right. Does this make sense? All right. I don't think there's any weird, crazy exercises in this set. Let me give you your packet, and I want you to take your packet and I want you to look back in the back of the packet, the last two pages. The next to last page is a declining sheet. It says choose 6 nouns, decline the nouns. All right, here's what I want you to do. You do not have to write out the cases every time. Where it says case, you don't have to do that. So where it's singular and plural, do singular and plural. See where it says translate the boxed marked asterisk? No, don't. Just decline the noun. And I'm going to give you 6 nouns. And you can just fill the first one under the singular. And I just want you to practice, okay? And we'll look at them together when we come back together. And of course, that's why I should have brought my book of all the words you've learned so far. Where was that page? Oh, here we go. All right. All right, here we go. Noun number 1. I'll try and make them short too. Cana. Noun number 2, equus. I encourage you to do more than just these, but at a minimum, do these. Mater. Bellum. Let's see, we need two more. Corpus. And last one, because you should practice mare. All right, those are your 6 nouns. To decline them, you will have to know what conjugation what declension, I'm sorry, each one is, right? So take some time. When we come back together in 2 weeks, we will go over those together. I did not send you a key for those, all right? Now, but you're not done. You should know, because we got to write our verbs for conjugating, okay? I'm also going to give you 6 verbs. And I'm going to tell you what tense to do. Can I erase these? Okay. All right. So 6 verbs. You can just put where it says tense up above. You can write the verb and write the tense. Do rogo in the present tense, first day. Do habio in the future tense. Do mito in the imperfect tense. Do clamo, I'm just going to write this up above, in the future tense. Do gero in the future tense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do pono in the imperfect tense. I'm sorry, that's written all over the place, but hopefully that makes sense. Are we good? All right. So what I would do with your time is I would tell myself, all right, I have 2 weeks. So, maybe I have 10 days, maybe I want to call it 8 days, that I'm going to do Latin, because we're meeting today and we'll meet 2 weeks from now. But let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8, 9 days. All right. But before we meet again, school days. I would go through the material and I would just kind of roughly divide it up into 9 days worth. Do not try to do it all in a couple of days. You probably can, but A, you won't do a very good job. B, it won't stick in your mind. You need to meet it a little bit every day. Review words every day. Every day you should be doing vocabulary. At least 5 of you've got 6 times that you're declining nouns. All right. The other times, practice your noun endings. Make sure you know your noun endings. All right. Go back. There are only 16 previous chapters, and some of them are going to be really easy for you now. Go back and reread a chapter. and spot do some of the exercises. See if you can still do those sentences. It's good review. All right. Pour some time in every day. If you don't spend at least half an hour every day, you're not ever going to learn this. It's going to take at least that. Probably more, but it's going to take at least that. Okay. If you hit a roadblock when you're doing this, call me or email me. And then when we get back, we're going to regroup. There is a unit test after this. But I think we might spend 1 week. I might make my own review sheets for you, and we might do those. All right. And just do some intensive all book review in class. And then have a week of all book review where you're just working on it and working on it and working on it. And then the next week I can give you the unit test. And then we'll see how far we get. We're obviously not going to finish this book. And I will just tell you, I was looking ahead at 18, 19, 20, and 21. And you've got to memorize a bunch of stuff. And I just don't know how far, because memorizing has been, we've had to work pretty hard to get things memorized. For example, you have to memorize all of these. This is the word this and these. This is the word that and those. In singular, plural, and all the genders and cases. And you have to memorize them. He, kai, coke, huyas, 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 huik, 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 hunke, coke, hoka, coke, he, hi, hi, horum, horum, horum. You've got to memorize them. And I just don't know how much farther we're going to get on that. Okay. What are you going to do if you have a problem over the next 2 weeks? Yes. Okay. Let's go over a couple of sentences from this worksheet that I had you do for practice. Oh, that's a long one. Let's do some shorter ones. All right. Here we go. And if, no, I was going to say, I heard you flipping through and I thought maybe you were looking at your worksheet. Okay. Puelli. Hang on. I'm going to try the green one. Puelli flores incapitibus garibant. What is our verb? And what does it mean? They were wearing. What could be the they? What's nominative that could be the they? The girls were wearing. What were they wearing? Flowers. Floss, florus is flowers. So we see this can be a direct object. The girls were wearing flowers in capitibus. Uh-huh. And it's got the ibus ending. On their heads. Like flower wreaths. You're all looking at me. Well, they wear flowers on their heads. Flower wreaths on their heads. You guys did a great job on that. I shouldn't sound so surprised, should I? That's really rude. All right, beautiful.
Translating short sentences.
We all do. We like the short ones better than the long ones. Okay. This is something we learned last time. Enkilai, parate, kenam, in camera. What is our verb? Parate. What does that verb mean? Do you remember what paro means? Prepare. Prepare.
Wait, that's prepared.
Paro.
Okay, it looks weird. T.
It does look weird with the T. I am so glad you mentioned that. What's up with the T? OST, mustis, nt. Those are the normal endings, but this is a TE. What? And what's imperative mean, Luke? Say that in lower class language for the rest of us. Command. It's a command. I am telling someone, prepare. Am I telling one person or more than one person? I am. Because if I were just telling one, it would just say para. But I know I'm telling them more than one person, prepare. You guys are making me very happy. I'm remembering things. Okay. What are they going to prepare? What are they supposed to prepare? Dinner. Prepare dinner, direct object, in camera, in the room. And what is the story with this word? Maidens, servants. What is it doing in this sentence? What is its job? Yes, but does it is it the subject? No, because I don't say the maidens are preparing the dinner. I didn't say that. I said, maidens, prepare the dinner. What am I doing to the maidens? I'm talking directly to them. Do you remember that's the other thing we learned 2 weeks ago? The vocative. I'm talking to you, and it so turns out that the endings for the vocative are exactly the same, except for the second declension. They were different, but the other declensions, they're the same. Review that. I see it's 20 after. I need to let us go and move into the other room. Do you have any question? Is there any? Okay. All right. Well, then we will let it go. I apologize from the bottom of my heart for, I feel like I've just messed up our whole pace because I was sick and then we're here. And then I already told your parents we were having a break and I didn't want to mix it up in case they made plans for the week that I already told them we were having a break. But after that, we will be back for 7 weeks in a row and we'll slam this out. And then suddenly it will be May and all life will be good. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys.
That's why they were like